Hey there, Magic players. Barry White here from MagicAndTap.com and Magic and Tap right here on YouTube. Joining me, as you can see on screen, is Raswan77. He is a moderator and a streamer and heavily involved with the community of a kind of a new grassroots Magic the Gathering format called Planar Standard. And Planar Standard is basically standard Magic, but tied to the planes without the universes beyond. It's an unbeyond, if you would. Magic the Gathering format. Ras One, thank you very much for joining us here on Magic and Tapped. How are you doing?
Pretty good, man. I'm excited to talk about this format. It's the only kind of Magic I've been playing since October. So
So obviously, your style of standard used to be the default standard style because there was no such thing as universes beyond, and even then, it was just modern and beyond until it became part of standards. So, can you tell me a little bit about how planar standard came to be and why it came to be?
I mean, the biggest thing really is standard's large. It's a very, very large format now. I mean, if you're looking at the end of this year, you're going to have like 21 sets, over 6,000 cards. And when I was playing Magic years ago, I came back recently. When I was playing it years ago, you only had like 7 sets in standard. And this one caught my eye. I wasn't one of the progenitors. I came in pretty early in the format, but this one caught my eye because it put us down on like a smaller format, able to do a lot more brewing, a lot more decks get contention. The idea really was, how do you make a constructed deck format that's easier to get into, where you don't have to worry about, 6,000 cards or 21 different sets, and still be able to play constructed, because Commander became a thing since I left. That's a huge part of Magic now. But I always loved 60 card constructed. And so what we did was we said, all right, the easiest way to kind of separate it, to keep from having to decide what sets in, what sets out, was to just eliminate the universes beyond, call it planar standard, and focus just on the universes within cards. It was a very easy line to draw. It had nothing to do with whether you liked UB or not. It was really just, here it is. We can play planar standard. We can cut this down to 7 sets per rotation, and keep it a smaller format that's longer than a turn 3, turn 4 that you see in standard now.
So you said this is nothing against UB and versus Beyond, but does player sentiment about non-Magic IPs into Magic the Gathering play anything into this, or is this simply just a way to control and minimize the variety of cards in this new format?
It was really set up to minimize the number of cards in the format. When we put this together, when Ed Eduardo, he's like the founder kind of it, that was the idea. Now, that being said, I mean, me personally, I came back because of Universes Beyond sets. I came back because of Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy was another, thing that grew up in my childhood. And so when I saw I was in
Mine
Magic,
too.
this might be a good time to come back. So me personally, I don't really have any uh, dislike for Universes Beyond, other than Omen Paths and Spider-Man making it very difficult to draft because the dual names, like I can't keep that many cards in my head and realize they're the same. But, as far as UB in itself, like it didn't really factor into it. Now, there's a lot of people that are unhappy with UB for whatever reasons. They're
Fair.
welcome here. And we have a lot of people that came solely because they dislike UB, but we don't as a whole, hate UB in any way. It's really just about trying to make a more contained standard that allows for some mid range, and a lot of cards that you don't see in standard get to shine in this format, like because you don't have things like Badgermole Cub or Vivi. You have other cards that you don't see as often.
So just to be clear, for people who are watching, this is not an anti-Universes Beyond thing. That's just a very clear, clean line of demarcation that everybody can understand and agree on. And that's what sets up the difference initially between, I guess I'll call traditional standard these days and planar standard, correct?
Yep, that's correct. And Maro said, play the game how you want to play it. This is how we want to play the game, with Universes Beyond included in now everything. We would like to take it out just to make it smaller. If somebody or a community came together and made a Universes Beyond version and called it UB standard, that's great. I want to see more people make that if that's their focus. but to have 21 sets in standard is where it makes it a lot difficult for us to compete and to make decks that aren't just net decking what's out there. Most of the people in this community are heavily into brewing. We just had a tournament last weekend with 39 people, and our top 8, every single deck was a different archetype. There wasn't a single archetype that was the same. So you're really seeing a huge, the people that are playing this format are brewing. They're taking ideas that you don't normally see in standard because there's just a lot of things that are way more powered than that. And they're making their own decks.
So you mentioned Mark Rosewater, head designer of Magic the Gathering. So he actually commented, I believe I want to say on Tumblr or Blue Sky or something. I want to say it was Tumblr.
That was Tumblr, I think. Yeah.
It was Tumblr?
Yeah.
Okay. What about or not player chaos? That's something completely different. Player standard, and how he's kind of keeping an eye on it. So when you and your cohorts saw that comment, what were you thinking after seeing what he said about this fan-based grassroots effort on your guys' side?
I mean, it's awesome to see like the designer of Magic mention your format, or at least comment on a comment about your format, and to say that he wants to see more fan-based formats show up. I want to see that too, because honestly, I mean, Hasbro's a big business. Maro is now in the business of selling Magic cards, right? He designs them, but he's also got to be the spokesman that, pushes the lines that Hasbro are asking him to. And the hard truth is Hasbro's trying to make money. And if there's no money in a format, they're not going to promote a format. So to see them have him say he wants to see it succeed means we got to show that there's enough people interested in this format that Hasbro can make money on it. I mean, that's the reality. Hasbro doesn't make cards to, unfortunately doesn't make cards just for them to be part of the game. They make it because they're trying to appease their stockholders. So the more people that come in and make their own formats that are successful, and this one's been really successful so far, at least we've only been around since October, and we're holding 39-person tournaments. And we've had to expand our tournament numbers from once a week to twice a week, which starts this weekend. So there is a lot of interest in the format, and I want to see it succeed, and apparently he does too.
So you said this format, formally has only been around about half a year, give or take. How has the reception been? How has the growth been over these past 6 months? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so when I started in mid-October, I think we were around 300 people using our Discord. We used our Discord to coordinate tournaments, to coordinate format discussions, things like that. And now we're over 1,300, approaching 1,400 people. And that's just in the span since October. So not even 6 months, and we've grown that much. Our tournaments originally started out with, we had a couple that didn't fire in October. We had one that fired. And then in December, we had only one tournament that month, I believe, and we canceled our monthly tournament because of holidays. But now we just did a 39-person tournament for the monthly. We did a 32-person tournament the week before for a weekly, and then we do the streams too. So the other thing I do the streaming, not just me playing the format. We do that, but I also actually stream the tournaments so that we can see people doing the matches. So if you go to my Twitch page, you can actually see the top 8 finals from last weekend in most of the decks. People have to volunteer to stream into the Discord so I can broadcast it, but we do like a commentary spectator mode for that as well.
So where do you see Planar Chaos going? How do you see it growing, if you would? Do you think this might become possibly a rival to the normal standard, or maybe take over the normal standard, depending if players maybe get fatigued with UB and whatnot, they just want to play in universe?
I don't know that it'll ever overcome standard as the standard, because Hasbro wants to sell all cards into all formats. They probably have licensing agreements with Ninja Turtles or whoever their universe is beyond, that they have to be able to sell it into all formats. So if they change the name to something else, cool, but they're going to always have this format that includes all cards. I don't see that ever going away. And our goal isn't really to try to take over standard. I would be super happy if we got arena support so that we didn't have to, do our own challenges. But if that never happens, that's fine too. I think more importantly to me is that we've created a space for people who want to play in a smaller, slower format, more akin to, the way standard used to be. And if that only ever stays on Discord and our websites and on our Twitches, that's fine as long as there's people here to play it. Um, I'm hoping that, each time a new set comes out, or, people look and say, maybe I'm not enjoying this as much as they did, that they take a look at our format instead of just leaving Magic entirely. Because it is a really fun game, and it's a game that I grew up with, played for a long time till life got in the way. And I hate to see it die because people are becoming jaded or upset over something. I'd rather be focusing on playing the game the way I want to play the game than, getting jaded because I'm being forced to play it the way somebody else says I have to play it.
And if somebody wanted to get into the format or promote it in their local community, how would you suggest they best go about that?
Probably just finding other people that are like-minded. If you're looking at your LGS and you have some friends that are playing Commander and they're like, I really want to try Standard, but it's so expensive. Planar Standard's not as expensive. There's a lot more variety in the decks. You don't have to find a playset of Badgermole Cubs at $85 a piece. You can get, what you have. I mean, we have decks that are pretty, from a cost standpoint, other than your lands, because your lands are always going to be, your mana fixing is always going to be more expensive. I mean, you can get in our format for rather inexpensively, with a competitive deck.
And finally, Razwan, before we conclude this little interview here, is there anything else you want to tell the Magic and Tap viewers and just the Magic the Gathering community overall about Planar Standard and just where you think Magic is right now?
I mean, Hasbro says it's in a good place. It's making money for them. That's great. I honestly think that UB is good. This is my opinion. This is not a Planar Standard. I was being very clear. My opinion is that I think UB is good overall for bringing people into the game. What you have to be able to do now is retain them. So if you bring them in because, Final Fantasy, they have to be able to stick around to continue playing further. And I'll be honest, it was tough. Like, I came back into Final Fantasy because I really liked the card set. I started playing paper. I went and spent, several $100s to put together some decks that I wanted to play, right? And then I go try to play Standard at Friday Night Magic, and nowhere around me it's firing. And so, I made a post in Reddit. If you go back to my history, you could see where I was like really frustrated because I have a job where I get to move around the country and I could not find a place to play it. And I think, it's great for sales. It's great for bringing players back in it. But if you want to play the game in 60 card constructed and you don't want to spend $800 on a deck and then only not to be able to play it because everybody was afraid of Vivi at the time, right? And then they eventually banned it. But my point is that it's bringing people in and they need a place to be able to play the game the way that they envision playing it. If that's Commander, that's great. That's awesome. You can play Commander. I never played Commander back in the day. It wasn't really a thing when I played it a long time ago. And I wanted to play 60 card constructed, and this format, kind of saved me from just distancing myself again, because I was like, all right, I've spent a bunch of money on paper Magic and I can't play it anywhere. That's not fun for me, And so I found this format, joined it just so that I could continue playing the game the way I wanted to play it, which was 60 card constructed in a smaller format where, your turns might go 9-10 instead of, 3-6, which is where Standard is right now. And, that's important to me because I want to play the game that way. The other thing I'd like to say from our metagame standpoint, we still have, Ouroboros. That's still a thing in our format because that's one of the cards there. It's a powerful card. Quantum Riddler is still here. So there are some like heavy hitters, but what you're seeing is, decks that you don't normally see nowadays, like Jeskai Control was bigger when Takir was out. That's very, very strong in our format. You've also got, obviously Simic Void It's not a turn 3 or turn 4 kill. It's more like turn 6 or 7, but it's very manageable because you have other decks that are shining. We had somebody build a Vondum sack deck, so using Sir Vondum from Edge of Eternities, and then building a aristocrats version. Like I would never see that getting into winning any tournaments in standard nowadays. And then over the weekend when we had ours, we had a harmonizer deck that did very well. We had an elementals deck that did very well. We had a Ketramos. I call it ketamine dose. I don't know. I don't know why. I can't say the word. But anyway, we had a deck that was based off of that did very well. We have Sultai controlled decks. We have Asban control decks. There's like just a wide variety of different decks that people are putting together. We've even had people do some of the kindred decks that have done well. So we've had elves and Kithkin. Elves less so because we still have strategic betrayal, and that kind of ruins your entire graveyard game plan. But we have a lot of successful decks. You can be competitive building just about anything in our format, and I think that's more important to the health and strength of Magic, is being able to for people to get back to that almost kitchen table kind of Magic, rather than net decking what the best thing is so that you can grind out your wins or do your RCQs. It's very, very, I wouldn't say it's completely casual here, but it's definitely a lot more competitive using whatever brew you built at home than it can be in the normal standard ladder.
So what I'm hearing is planar standard as opposed to normal standard these days, despite the smaller card pool, has more creativity, more originality, more interactions, and more play value than normal standard with UB sets.
I would say that it's broader, so all of that I would agree with for the most part. It's just broader, and to put the cap on that, I mean, all that's true in the context of being competitive in it. You know what I mean? Like, I can't take a Servandum deck and expect to get to Mythic unless I go over and over and over again into that ladder over and over. I mean, you can get to Mythic in ranked if you just keep playing over and over until you get the right numbers, right? But we have very, very competitive decks that are outside the meta that you see in normal standard. It's a much different meta over here.
So if I gave you 30 seconds, you had to sell the entire audience on why they should at least try planar standard. This is your time to shine. What would you tell them?
You want my elevator pitch?
Give me the elevator pitch.
All right, get on the elevator, guys.
Up to the top floor.
Planar Standard is going to the top floor, and we're going to be up there playing within universe cards. We're going to have lots of elves. We're going to have lots of Kithkin. We're going to have lots of legendary planeswalkers. Like, one of our decks is a planeswalker deck, man. You don't see a planeswalker Super Friends do well, and it's a tier 1 deck in our format. You got Elspeth in there, Kato, Johnny. It's all focused on tokens. I mean, come try our format out. Bring your brew.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Ros177, to use your screen name as you requested, to come and join us here on Magic Untapped to talk about this new grassroots, and I love grassroots efforts, grassroots format, planar standard, and I'm very excited to see what happens with this format in the coming 6 months and year plus going forward. Okay, thank you very much to Ransom 7, and thank you, Magic players, for watching us here on Magic Untapped. And until next time, we will see you next time. Have a good day.